Not working. Oh, there we go. Yes, now it's working. Okay. Desktop audio is speakers. All right, give it a shot, James.
You hear me, right?
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast on a Monday. It's time for your weekly Calamity James live stream. James, how are you on this technical difficulties Monday evening?
I mean, it's part of the deal now at this point, right? We just it's part of our. We should just have those in our opening. Is we always have to deal with technical
Yeah, yeah.
difficulties every time
Well,
we open up a Climate Jane stream.
I have an excuse this week. I just got a new computer and
Mm,
been setting it up and migrating things over, and you keep like finding, you re-download everything, you reset everything up, and I'm now at the edge cases, right? Like,
okay.
and this edge case was is I had reset up my OBS scene for our stream, but then I didn't reconnect the output and the input because I exported the scene graph from my old computer and imported it on this one, but the technology is different, so it didn't know what devices to connect to. So I had to reconnect those devices, which is why we were silent for a few moments there. But now we're live and we're back again, once again.
Yeah,
How are
and to
you?
be fair, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
To be fair, I had technical difficulties too, in a sense. One of it was more of a philosophical technical difficulty that we kind of discussed off stream, off
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
And also, I've got a new microphone, so hopefully that helps with the audio tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The audio is
And
very good.
yeah, so that's going to be so. Hopefully, going forward, that's our new way of me talking to you instead of sounding like I'm in an echo chamber or something like that
Right.
half the time.
And my sultry, dulcet, rich tones.
Our natural ASMR side of things on Eric's side.
That's right. That's right.
We do have that going for us. So
I just want you to I want the audience to feel completely like raw and uncomfortable when you speak, and then wanting to have
yeah,
a nice nap when I speak.
that does help though to kind of have that dueling banjo type of thing kind of going on. If that's even a fair comparison.
Well, now that
But
extended intro is, what are we working on tonight?
let's see. Let me go into share mode. And I guess I have no share ability, but I'm going to send you a request
Oh,
and see.
okay. Allow. I forgot that. Okay, yeah. So I also installed Zoom, of course, but
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
have to manually set the meeting room to use your personal ID, and it did not do that by default.
Yeah, and again, this is all part of the fun of having a new computer, right? That you're
Yeah,
setting up. And,
yeah. Just
yeah.
trying to figure it all out, but we're
Uh,
getting there. It's looking good. It's looking good.
cool. So I know last week we kind of skipped last week. You had a meeting of sorts or something kind of going on, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to do a meeting at my
So
theater that I work at.
yeah, and so we skipped last week, but we're back this week, and we'll pick up where we kind of left off a little bit. I was working on the Warhogs heading towards Dry Gulp Gorge,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see where we're at. That's where they're running up and down like that. And I might start working on this on Calamity Jane entering frame and doing her hopscotching to all the Warhogs as
Mm-hmm.
they're heading closer and closer to town. It's probably where I'll go, but you'll probably see me scrubbing back and forth, seeing what other opportunities I work on to kind of flesh out and do some rough poses for the animation. But I think for a lot of this sequence, we have a lot of the kind of stuff locked in, so that part's good. I can always add more warhogs behind these guys to add, to fill in the gaps. So
Yep.
I'll probably do
Yep.
that. So I'll be jumping around a little bit between these couple of scenes as we're hanging out tonight.
Cool.
Um,
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Now, so the one thing, just to kind of, part of our technical difficulties is I wanted to kind of show off, well, not show off, but actually play with the new toy that's in Adobe Illustrator with the beta. They have this thing called Turntable where you can take vector graphics, which is Calamity Jane's show is a lot of the characters are vector graphic stuff, and you can rotate it in 3D and make it kind of look 3D. You can get different angles and views. But we'll save that for next week. I did have a dilemma. I had a moral philosophical dilemma with Eric as we're talking about it, because I don't want to have Adobe train on Calamity Jane living in the Adobe Hive mind. But Eric, you had more of the other view of it,
Yeah,
which is
I
it's
think
already
we're
too
already
late.
in the hive mind. Yeah, it's too late,
I
my
think
friend.
we already have dual versions of Calamity Jane already living within YouTube or Google, and you and I live in a in an avatar state within Google already. They've already
Amen.
captured our voice. You know what I mean?
It's
Like I
all a
get it.
simulation. It's all a simulation.
Yeah, and that just feels it feels hopeless and dystopian in a way. I kind of hope that you're wrong, but there's a part of me. I'm a pessimist too sometimes on this type of stuff, and I'm kind of with you. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but anyways, I'm gonna hope for a little bit, and I'm gonna research a little bit more before I quote unquote uh, send research if Adobe will not train AI stuff on our stuff if I happen to use the turntable function. So that's for
Hmm.
next week. We'll play with that and dabble with it.
All right, sounds
But
good.
anyway, so there's that. So there's that whole giant monologue about technical stuff going on. And then let me see. I want to kind of get you going on this too. I know I wanted you and I talked about this through text. I want to talk about weapons. I did, but I don't want to give it away. Like you and I have this is a great disagreement aspect of it, but again,
We
I don't
can
want to
save it. We
talk
can
about it
save
just
it.
yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You can give us
yeah,
some breathing room. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll give you a couple other things to
Okay.
go off of tonight. I finally fired up my Switch 2, played it with Amit a little bit, and did Mario Kart World. And already, I mean, I was already kind of annoyed with Nintendo before, but the fact I fired up Mario Kart World, brand new install, whatever you want to call it, and Donkey Kong's not even available as a racer at the very beginning
Yeah,
of the
you have to
game. Like I
unlock
can't
him.
even.
Yeah.
Unbelievable! I
Yeah.
was so angry.
Yeah. I don't.
So I have Goomba. I could use Goomba or Wario or Waluigi, but no, I wanted Donkey Kong. Nope. I have to unlock that dude just to play. Oh, unbelievable! He's my main. I played
Hmm.
Donkey Kong through all and Donkey Kong Jr. in the very first one. I played through all his Mario Kart games, and now he's locked. And then from what you described, is I have to get this Kamek or whatever question
Kamek.
block
Yeah.
just to find a way to unlock him. I did get Lakitu or whatever
Hmm.
the dude that run like I got him because we just played the game, but I don't want him. I wanted Donkey Kong. He's my main. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I am so annoyed.
I have nothing in defense. I mean, we've talked about this before. Mario Kart isn't even in my top three. You know, maybe probably not even in my top
Yeah.
five. Mario Kart World at least. So, yeah, just a lot of bizarre UX choices that really, really, for me at least, hamstring the game. You're preaching to the converted on this one. We are in
Oh
complete
man.
agreement.
Yeah, I just don't understand. But yeah, it's no fun to have a debate because you and I both agree with it. But I, just to kind of even go a little bit further with the Nintendo Switch 2, which I would say is they're already pretty much heel at this point. But like even for example, I had my Switch 1. I haven't powered it up in a while. It was off, or possibly I wasn't. I was actually kind of freaking out a little bit today because I wanted to transfer some games to my Nintendo Switch 2, and oh, I can't do that unless the Switch 1 is powered on to share my
Yeah,
library across my consoles.
right. Because it doesn't
Well,
do it over the internet; it does it locally.
yeah, so okay, go power my. I can't power my Switch 1 on it because I haven't powered it on in weeks
Right.
and/or a month. Well, now I'm stuck. I can't even get my games off my Switch 1 that I paid for digitally. I can't even get them onto my Switch 2 because my console is kind of off and not working. And I started, and the technical side of me is thinking like, well, is the battery completely depleted? Do I need to replace the battery? Because it wasn't charging quick. It was taking
Hmm.
forever. It took a good half hour just to see it actually power on and get a splash screen. So that part was good. But I was thinking in my head like, well, what if my Switch 1 was completely busted and I couldn't do anything? I'd just be locked out of getting my games off that thing and I have to kind of go do some weird, magic stuff on the web just to unlock my games that are installed on my Switch 1. I don't know if you have an answer for that, but it's sort of like a warning to people that if they have a bunch of Switch 1 games that they want to transfer, make sure your Switch 1 actually works. It's like kind of a weird
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's.
scenario.
Yeah. You have to call Nintendo at that point. I know when
Oh my
the
gosh,
USB-C port.
unbelievable, man.
Yeah, the USB-C port in uh one my original Switch that I owned busted, and I sent it in for repairs. And rather than fixing it, they just sent me a replacement Switch with my profile installed on it. But it didn't come with some of my backed up files. And with Animal Crossing, the save backup doesn't happen automatically. You actually have to call Nintendo to transfer. I don't know why this is the case with Animal Crossing, but you have to call Nintendo to transfer your cloud saved Animal Crossing file over to your new system if you lose access to the original system. So yes, they can transfer all of that stuff without your original platform being on, but they you have to call them. You can't just. It's not like the Steam Deck where my computer doesn't need to be on. I just need to log into Steam, and Steam goes, "Oh, I know that you bought this game. You have a, you have a digital license associated with your account. Sure, you can download it on your Steam Deck, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And it should work that way. But at least, okay, I'm not to defend Nintendo and their bizarreness, um, but this has been a problem since the dawn of Nintendo supporting the internet, their reluctance to fully adopt the cloud. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and I don't know. I mean, I suspect it's a combination of things. I suspect it's an issue with their own, because they're very aggressive about piracy and
Mm-hmm.
mods and emulators and that kind of stuff. And so I think that that's part of it. I think the other part of it is somehow, for some reason, I still think that some part of Nintendo's technology management thinks that the internet is a fad and that everybody is going to decide that, the internet, we don't really like that internet thing anymore. And so they're reluctant simply just to adopt a new way of thinking in terms of content delivery and content management on their platforms. Um, and I also think that there's part of it won't somebody think of the children, right? Which
Yeah.
is, they're famous for as well. Very, very aggressively. I mean, like to Disney level, they're making sure that their platforms remain accessible and friendly to children. Um, which, okay, that's fine. As someone who doesn't have kids, it doesn't really apply to me, and it's more of a nuisance than anything else. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's not the end of the world. So there's a lot of factors for why it's not, because the technology is there. Like I said, you can call them and have, if in the worst case
Mm-hmm.
scenario, and they will transfer it over. So the stuff does exist in the cloud. All your license keys, and if you have the Switch Online uh uh thing platform or whatever, um you know your saves are backed up as well, right? It's just they are reluctant to let you do it freely for a variety of reasons. I don't know. I got nothing better than that. I'm not trying to defend them. I think it's ridiculous as well, but
Yeah, that's okay. I I totally that sounds it is a very and Eric, you're very well schooled in the Nintendo way of verbiage,
yeah, yeah,
explaining the Nintendo way of thinking, and that makes perfect sense as to why they do things that way. As a consumer, I I just find it
yeah.
annoying
No,
as
I don't.
usual
Yeah,
with what they
I'm
do.
not disagreeing with you for sure. Yeah.
But this is, and again, this is a if we happen to be streaming Calamity Jane for 20 years, there would be these type of themes that would pop up for
Over and
Nintendo
over and over
every.
again. Yeah.
Yes, they would, because this is their history, this is their pattern, this is nothing new, and it's just why I feel like they'll always be kind of almost like top tier, and then they fall back down when it comes to hardware, that is. But
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
games, of course, are always top tier, always gold standard type of games, for the most part. Even then, that's kind of suspect with Mario Kart World. But I think with Donkey Kong, from what you played, you were telling me, is it was phenomenal. So I believe it, and I'm sure Metroid will be the same. I'm sure it'll be great as well. When it comes to their flagship type of games, barring Mario Kart being this weird anomaly, I think they'll be just fine, um, with their bread and butter stuff.
I mean, my hope is that they'll revisit Mario Kart. world and address some of the UX things. My hope is that it was as I suspect a little rushed, um,
Hmm.
and that it just seems incredibly unlikely to me that they are unaware of these UX issues. So hopefully they'll go back and revisit it. But Nintendo is weird, and that's sort of a thing that you have to accept if you're going to be a Nintendo fan, is that they're going to do weird things sometimes, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think for me, I've given up being a fan of any console or corporation that makes entertainment for us at this point, and I just kind of enjoy it for what it is.
Sure.
I try to be agnostic in this nonplussed by console releases now at this point, and just try to see if I can play a game that I'm interested in, that's done by a really interesting director or game team at this point, and see which is the most accessible way of playing it. And Nintendo, of course, within in-house, always will have those type of games, that will kind of show up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of course, got to find a delivery system to play those type of games. So yeah, that's our lot in life, I guess, if you're a gamer or into that type of stuff.
Well,
So
we're
yeah,
definitely just in general at a very interesting point in human history. There's no question about that. Not least of which is how entertainment is delivered and consumed. I think is in a massive state of flux, and I don't think we've even reached the peak of how much media and entertainment is going to change. And I think that even in our lifetimes, when we're very old and very gray,
yeah,
um, we'll still be seeing changes. Maybe the dust will have started to settle at that point, but I really do think that we're still on the rise of
hmm
the kind of metamorphosis of how entertainment is
hmm
created and enjoyed. So we'll see how it goes.
yeah. And even when you're watching younger generations, they don't even. Again, I think I don't know. We may have talked about this on previous streams, but even I feel like the whole excitement around console releases, like for Nintendo Switch 2, I thought it would go gangbusters, and it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit muted, and I attribute that to just, again, old school gamers. I would consider us old school. We were excited about the console release, but my nephews and nieces, I don't think they even care, because they got their phones now. They have consoles in their phone or in their pockets at this point. It doesn't even matter. Now it is really about, what your flagship games are and how to play them at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think we're already seeing that change happening.
I mean,
You
I
know.
know I know that Microsoft in particular, and Sony to a lesser extent, are starting to see the writing on the wall.
Hmm.
Microsoft is doing what I thought that they should have been doing a long time ago, which is turning the Xbox more into a digital platform rather than a standalone closed box piece of hardware, right? They've done that with the this is an Xbox ad campaign, and their new push to release all of their in-house games on external platforms, in particular the PC. And you can see it with Sony too. I mean, God of War, Spider Man, Ghost of Tsushima, they're all on Steam now, right? And
Yeah, it's
so,
pretty crazy. Hmm.
yeah, and so they have these high quality games, and software is really where you make your money. And so the
Hmm.
idea of keeping your games on a single closed box platform that you are responsible for developing yourself, it strikes me as limiting your reach to players.
Yeah.
Um, but this is Nintendo we're talking about here, and that'll probably be the last thing they try. Um, you
So
know.
so here's the thing that's interesting though is they did kind of dabble with mobile phones with Mario Run, right? Isn't that what it's
Mm-hmm.
called?
Yeah.
They did a Mario Kart mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those even exist anymore though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah, they're
sure.
they're all still around. They still support them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
there's a couple of there's a Fire Emblem game, an Animal Crossing game, um, and they just started a new line of children's mobile apps, Nintendo
oh,
branded,
interesting.
Mario branded children's mobile apps. So yeah, they're dipping their toes into the mobile space in particular. I think
Hmm.
it'll be a cold day in hell before they start releasing their products on a regular PC, though.
You mean like Donkey Kong,
Yeah,
Bonanza, that type of
yeah.
stuff?
I
Yeah.
don't think you're ever
Hmm.
going to see Donkey Kong Bonanza on Steam. I just don't think that that's.
Yeah. It almost seems kind of wrong, but
Yeah,
in a
well, I
way,
mean, yeah,
seems
it's
so unnatural, right?
well, like the rumor is that the Halo Master Chief collection is coming to the Switch too in the near future, and
What?
that's
That feels
crazy
wrong
too.
too.
Yeah, that's pretty
You know.
crazy. Yeah, so um, it is I think inevitable ultimately,
Hmm.
but Nintendo will be the last holdout on the more traditional, you buy a piece of hardware that plays only these games and you love it, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Because from a technology standpoint, there's a million, well, not a million, I'm being hyperbolic, but there are systems out there, third party hardware out there that functions exactly the same way the Switch does, with a screen and detachable controllers. And so there's no hardware limitation preventing these games from being ported to the PC. It's purely Nintendo's will that it's not, right?
Yeah. And then, so, once you brought up the hardware, it's kind of funny. Like, in 2017, Nintendo was they pretty much introduced this Switch
Mm-hmm.
with this, this whole idea of a mobile console, and now even Sony's even talking about, doing a PS6 that's going to be mobile, or I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's the rumors I see online.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Switch was kind of like the grandfather now at this point of a whole slew of different mobile devices that can play as pretty much console level, or you know console level games and mobile games all in one, like Lenovo, Steam Deck. All these guys are doing that type of stuff with PC style games, and now Nintendo's uniqueness is it's by now with the Switch 2 is not unique anymore. It's like now you're sort of battling with the price tag that they're charging for their Switch 2. What do you get with it? Well, right now, two special games versus going to a Steam Deck or going to a Lenovo or an Asus, and then getting a whole slew of Steam Deck stuff right off the bat. And where do you want to spend your money? Do you want to spend your money on a $550 console and then spend another $200 to get Donkey Kong Bonanza and then some other first party type of game, or even a third party game at this point? Because there's only two first party games, right? I think it's Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, with Kirby coming out soon.
Kirby's
But
out.
you're oh, it's out. Okay.
And Dragon
Yeah.
Drive, take that for what it is. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun
Yeah.
time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a system seller, right? If
Yeah.
you're looking for one of those kind of physical motion games that Nintendo's kind
Yeah.
of been known for since the advent of the Wii, I'd say it's
Mm-hmm.
good. I liked it a lot more than Arms, in terms
Okay.
of as a proof of concept of the mouse controller technology. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
like it's a novelty game. Um, it's not a must have.
Okay.
But yeah, Kirby
Yeah.
Kirby came out, and I guess World Tour, right? Huh? Nintendo Switch 2, the World Tour thing. That's not really a game though.
No. The fact that you talk about the manual that
Yeah, yeah,
shows you
the
how the
the
Switch
digital
2 works.
manual that they're charging $10
Oh
for.
my
Yeah.
gosh, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. Did you get I would figure you would probably have gotten Kirby on day one, or did you not get it?
I have it. I mean, I had the original Kirby in the
Hmm.
Forgotten Lands, and I bought the update. And it actually was pretty fortuitous for me because I got distracted by Kirby when it came out back in like 2022,
Okay.
and just had never gone back to it. And the update, not only does it add a whole section of new stages, it cleans up some of the textures, adds it runs at a higher frame rate now. It's just a lot. It's just overall they've done some technical refinements on it to make it a little bit of a cleaner experience, and It shows. It's pretty good. So I've been going back and finishing up the last of the original game stages that I didn't get to before I go into the expansion mode, which is supposed to be great. It's supposed to be the new stages are supposed to be really really clever. So I'm excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's funny to me that I drifted away from it. I should go back and look what drew me away because it's a really good platformer. Um, and I feel like on this stream, in fact, I have probably claimed that I didn't like it particularly. Like I wanted to like it more than I did, but going back and revisiting it now, though, it's like, well, I don't remember why I didn't dig this before because it's a really, really good platformer. Um, and it's Kirby, so there's a little bit of a weirdness to it. Kirby's always slightly
Mm-hmm.
weird.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so I've been enjoying revisiting it. So yeah, I haven't gotten to the new stuff, but the overall technical refinements that they've done to it are really nice and really appreciated.
So yeah, it's funny because like when I was talking about Kirby, I totally forgot. I completely spaced Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and I was thinking about Kirby's Air Ride
Oh no,
as
that
their
doesn't come out until like the end of this year. Yeah.
okay. All right. So yeah. So so as far as spending stuff on new Nintendo Switch 2 games, that's the well unless this new direct reveals something else as first party is coming
Yeah,
out.
that rumored one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm slightly hoping for Metroid Prime 4, but I'm not holding my breath. I just don't know
Well,
what they're thinking about.
they've been saying this year, since they announced they did the full direct back in April. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's been all's quiet on the Western Front again about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it's the usual. Hey, it's on the horizon. It's on the horizon, and then
Yeah,
no one
yeah,
says anything. But
and it's just yeah.
we've seen gameplay footage now. I mean, it can't be too far. I mean, it's definitely not vaporware at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, at least for the rest of this year, you've got Kirby Air Riders and Metroid Prime 4, the big first party stuff. Um, and but then you've got there's a few other third party games coming out. None original that you can't get on other platforms, but they're new to the Switch 2 at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, the system came out in June, and
Mm-hmm.
if everything holds, you're going to have Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4, Kirby Air Riders, and then a couple of other smaller titles. That's a hell of a opening gambit for a newly launched platform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty strong showing. And then with like stellar ports of Cyberpunk
Yeah,
2077, and then by all
yeah.
accounts the Final Fantasy VII remake Intergrade that's coming to Switch 2. People played it at Gamescom and were saying that it was like they don't know how they did it. Like it's so good from a performance and visual standpoint that they're wondering how Square Enix actually managed to pull it off. It looks so good.
Yeah,
So,
this could be more recency bias on my part. And again, I ignored the Switch when it first came out,
mhm.
but I just remember the Switch. It felt like it was more of a fireworks and explosion of hey, we've got Zelda, and such a big, larger than life kind of game at this point. It's either Link or Mario that needs to launch your system, and then we had Breath of the Wild, and I believe, and then that was the bridge game for from the Wii U, and then didn't we get Odyssey a few months later, and that was like another
Yeah, that was at
giant,
the end of the year. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so I guess I'm comparing it to that. Like, and I don't remember what the other launch titles they had with it, but it felt like so much more like an extravaganza for the Switch, and then how special the Switch was. Then we get the Switch 2, and Mario Kart World is underwhelming. It's beautiful. It's a great game, but I I played it a little bit today, and it's fine. The music, again, I think you and I have talked about this off stream. I think the best part of Mario Kart World is the music.
Oh
The
yeah,
music composition is stellar.
yeah.
It's the best. It's my favorite part of the game so far. But again, I am seeing this through a lack of DK lens here. I am a little annoyed when I fired it up and I couldn't even play him. So I do have a bias here for that. And then we have Don Bonanza, but he's not. He's the anti-hero sort of in that universe for Nintendo at this point, and it's not. We have Mario as a in kart form, but we don't have a Mario game. And then we have Kirby, who's again part of the. Is a great character. I enjoyed Kirby, but is he an A-lister? I don't know. Where and we have A-listers, for Switch One. But to your point too, like thinking back to I don't know the Wii, we had Wii Sports, I think, that kind of launched right, and then did we get
Mm-hmm.
Twilight Princess a little bit later? I don't
Mm-hmm.
recall. I don't know.
No, no, no.
I
Twilight Princess was a launch game. Yeah.
it was a launch game, yeah. So there we go again. We have this A-list kind of character carrying the console, and I don't. I guess their Nintendo's assumption was Mario Kart would be that A-list kind of game. I get it, but I don't know. That's where I'm at. I feel underwhelmed with Switch 2, comparatively speaking. I get what you're saying with the list, but none of that has Mario 3D platformer in there or Link in there. I mean, they're trying to with the Hyrule. Is the Hyrule Warriors version of Link in there? I never counted that as a
Well, it's not.
true
Yeah, I mean,
Zelda
it's not.
game.
It's not coming out. That won't be out this year anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a sequel to Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I played Age of Calamity and it was good. My problem is I burnt out of those Moshu style
Yeah. Yeah.
mass brawlers because I played the hell out of the original Hyrule Warriors and Fire
hmm
Emblem Warriors. Just hundreds of hours into both of those games, and then by the time Age of Calamity came out, I was just kind of burnt on the genre, and I don't know that I'd have to play another one to see how I feel if I'm ready to kind of wade back into that kind of um, style of game, and because they're pretty mindless, right?
hmm
There's not a lot of
Yeah.
strategy. It's just you have hundreds of enemies attacking you at the same time. You
Yeah.
press
Yeah.
a couple of buttons to kill all the enemies. It's a spectacle game. It looks really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just don't know if my appetite for those types of games um, will ever recover. Like they never, my like the traditional Ubisoft style open world. I still can't stand those types of games. Like I burnt out of them and I never recovered from it. If when I see a new game and it's just a standard Ubisoft style open world, I was like
hmm
pass, just like not interested. And so I'm wondering if it's
Yeah.
sort of the same thing here.
Yeah, open world. I don't know when I kind of got fatigued from open world. I think the last one I really played in any depth was probably Skyrim, and it was a fun world to kind of be in. But after a while, it just by the time I got to Breath of the Wild to play, which was open world for Zelda, I was over it. I just didn't
Hmm.
care about seeing three more trees on my way to try to get a piece of heart, and then um, seeing other boglin. Was it what are they called? Boglins? What are the camps?
Bokoblins
Oh,
and
bokoblins. Okay.
moblins and
Yeah,
moblins.
moblins.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just didn't care anymore. They all felt, I know there was going to be some subtle differences between them, but yeah, I think. But I'm with you. I did get the same fatigue with it when it came to the open world style of games. I don't really care as much now. And again, I don't know how much of a Grand Theft Auto fan you are, but I never have been. But I think that's the only one that'll actually kind of maybe set the bar again for an open world type of game is when Grand Theft Auto comes out whenever it does. Maybe. But I don't know. But even watching the trailers and stuff like that, it felt all the same to me. It didn't seem any different. I mean, the visuals are incredible. Again, it's all fidelity of the look and feel of the trailers. They're always slick. Um, but I don't know if I don't know if it's enough for me to, throw down a bunch of cash to play that game. Probably not on the Switch 2. It'll probably have to be on the PS5 or something. But I mean, the last ones I played with from Rockstar were the Red Dead Redemption games, RDR 1 and 2, and they were fun. But I think also because it was a Western, so I didn't mind the open world aspect of it because there was a lot of scenic vistas type of stuff to look at. It was really pretty, both games. I thought. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
but
not a huge Rockstar guy.
mhm.
As we've talked about, GTA 6 does not interest me in
No
the
interest, huh?
least. Not even not even remotely. So
Did
I
you
will
play
pass
any
on
of
it.
the other ones?
Yeah,
Did you play any of?
I played all of them up through 5,
Okay.
and I
Wow. See, that's
played
better than I am. Yeah, I never played
yeah,
them.
and I played the first Red Dead. Didn't get into Red Dead 2. Again, by that point, I was kind of really burnt out on the traditional open world style games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And uh, honestly, I just don't the storytelling that Rockstar doesn't appeal to me
Mm-hmm.
all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so the gameplay loop isn't particularly what I'm looking for, and the stories that they tell I'm not particularly interested in. So there's just not much on offer for me for Grand Theft Auto games. I mean, I recognize that I am in the vast minority here because GTA 6 is going to do at least $1 billion in sales over its lifetime.
It seems like
Um,
it would, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's that's fine. I mean, not every game has to be made to appeal to every person, but in this
Mm-hmm.
instance, GTA is definitely not on my list.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, same here. We'll see what it does. I do think it is going to be one of those kind of, for better or for worse, I think it will be one of those industry influencing type of
Oh
game
yeah,
launches where,
without doubt, yeah.
you know, which I think Nintendo was hoping for with Mario Kart, like for example, setting it to $80, for example. I don't know, but I don't know if you can really match that price point when you have a Grand Theft Auto 6, and if they charge $80, I think people will gladly play it and feel like they got value for it. But I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
We'll see.
yeah.
Where you and I are already kind of complaining, like I'm complaining about Donkey Kong not being in the game, but is it an $80 game? I would have hated to spend $80. I'm glad I got the bundle. Um,
Oh yeah,
for 50.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, so we'll see. But again, I think maybe for the worse, I think people will think that people, I think consumers will want to spend that kind of money. I don't know if it's really going to be the case or not. I don't even know how. I'm assuming Donkey Kong Bonanza was a $70 game. I wonder how well it's sold. Um, so far as we're in month 3, I think, for the Switch 2. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm curious how Nintendo's what the execs are saying right now, in regards to software sales for the games. I don't know. I'm wondering if they are happy with where the Switch 2 is at versus the Switch 1. Um,
Um,
yeah.
last I heard, it's selling phenomenally well still,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and Nintendo did ultimately follow through on their promises. They've seemed to have squashed the supply chain issues. It seems like it's available. People
Yeah.
are able to buy it. So I think that that's part of why you're not hearing more fanfare. Is because there's no
Hmm.
fanfare to be had. The system is available. You can go buy it. So there's no news stories about people breaking into stores and stealing units, or people,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
breaking GameStop's front page, refreshing it, trying to get their own. There's no story, there's no news being generated because the system is actually available. And it is
Hmm.
it's a weird um it's a weird state to be in where something, well, it's not, I guess in this world it's not that weird, but something that is so dramatically anti-consumer
Hmm.
actually drives the hype for the product, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
bad that some of these platforms were completely inaccessible for an upwards of a year from its launch, right? But it
Yeah.
generated a lot of news stories. It generated a lot of attention for those platforms. It gave them a
Hmm.
mystique. It gave them a cachet. It made them a commodity simply by virtue of their inavailability. And that's not the case on the with the Switch 2. It's out. You seem to be able to get it, and so it doesn't generate
Yeah.
any headlines. And so the question is like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Now it's selling like hotcakes, so I'm gonna err on the side that it's a good thing that consumers can get it. But still, it is interesting that there is a bit of a dearth of news about the Switch 2, if only because there isn't anything worth reporting on about it. Because again, no one reports good news. They only report bad news. And with the Switch 2, there's no bad news. It's selling well. People can buy it. The games are reviewing extremely well. Yeah, so it's just like, oh, well, yeah, it's the Switch 2 and it's working.
Yeah, but I guess where I'm coming from though is the software sales. The hardware is one thing. Yeah, I think it is kind of a jury is still out for the hardware. It feels like it's selling like hotcakes, but I mean, I was at Best Buy just a couple of days ago, and I saw plenty of Switch 2s on the shelf. But again, it could be like what you're saying. They've handled the supply issue, and so you can get them anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Switch One, there was a combination of like when it first launched, and then even into the pandemic, it was hard to. They were a little bit more harder to find. It felt like there's waves of like, oh, it's here, then it's not, kind of a thing. Switch Two, like you couldn't get it for the first 2 weeks maybe, but now every time I've been to a Best Buy, and this is a very this is a low bar to compare anything. But going to a Best Buy, I've always seen a Switch 2 ready to go to buy, and that was so different for a launch window for a Nintendo console that I've seen in a long time. I mean, I remember even back in the day with the N64, you couldn't get those for a while. Wii was another one, and Switch, of course. But the Switch 2 is the first time I've seen it where like, wow, this is cool. I mean, you can actually get one if you want. But I guess what I'm talking about is like the software for like Mario Kart obviously is a bundle, so you get that. A lot of people will buy it, and so I think what's the Switch 2's numbers now? They're probably sold like between 2 and 5 million, and I'm assuming Mario Kart has been sold is around that same number or figure. But DK Bonanza, so here we are with Donkey Kong Bonanza. Is it selling like crazy or not? Like, how many copies is that game selling? And it's a launch title for the Switch 2. And that's where I'm curious about the enthusiasm. Is it really? I think it is. I mean, it's gotten nothing but good reviews. I mean, you like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big sign. And I think you represent a lot of the Nintendo fans and/or just good old fashioned just people that appreciate good games. But is that enough to sell a lot of copies? I'm wondering. But there's so many different variables to this too. Donkey Kong is not, again, he's like a borderline bench slash maybe A minus lister. He's not Mario, or he's not Link. Those are the two flagship characters that push a game. So that's what I'm wondering versus Nintendo. I think I saw a number where even Mario Kart 8 outsold Mario Kart World for like even a week or two ago. Well, that's a little bit. If I'm a Nintendo executive, am I worried or am I not? Because there's just not enough Switch 2s out there just yet. And meanwhile, your install base for Switch 1s are where are we at? We're almost approaching DS level. We're not there yet, or Game Boy Advance level. I can't remember what number. Which one was the?
Yeah, it's DS.
It's DS. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just curious. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're getting into some serious macroeconomic stuff,
I
right?
know.
And it's not really it's a hard nut to crack in terms of at what point do you become alarmed at your sales numbers, and at what point is it like you just have to remind yourself that there are certain conditions that haven't been met yet,
Mm-hmm.
and that within
Yeah.
the microcosm of what you want to represent, everything is fine, right? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not an economist, and I certainly don't follow the finances particularly closely. So it's definitely over my head. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, as long as there are still new fun Nintendo games to play, I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
So that's what I care about, in as much as I care about the success of any Nintendo product. So
For me, like I have this weird, I have a love hate relationship with Nintendo. I want them to do well, but at the same time, I'm annoyed with them, and so there's a part of me that kind of roots for them to get a little bit piece of humble pie. It's really strange for me, where I don't, because at this point we're living in such a great time to be a fan of games, there's so many choices to play now. I have a there's a myriad of choices of ways I can spend my time playing a game. So that doesn't bother me as much. Now I want to see, do they get humble pie though? Does their humble pies happening with Nintendo? I don't know if it doesn't matter. I mean, they did get humble pie with Wii U, I guess, but they're a $1 billion company. They're fine. I'm just a lowly guy doing a animating animating a teenage salamander, in our stream.
Hmm.
Why would they care what me, a little guy, a little peasant would matter, But I guess there was this whole thing. Like, I just wish that they would learn to be more pro consumer about stuff. But it is I think it's a fool's errand / request to even think that they would ever get to that point. I just don't see it happening. Um, but yeah, yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
yeah.
Well,
But
yeah, go ahead.
but in the meantime, it's going to be fine. Nintendo's still going to make their games, and I guess we'll just have to see in a couple months how. I
Yeah.
mean, like, Christmas time's coming up, and we'll see how well it sells then. I'm sure a lot of parents will buy it for their kiddos and go with from there. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Christmas will be. I suspect that they're reserving all judgment until
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
after the Christmas season. So,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help that the entire global economy has been completely
Yeah.
decimated. That complicates everything, not just from a video game standpoint, but just people spending money, right? Like, just
Mm-hmm.
all
Yeah. That's
around
true.
the economic uncertainty. I mean, obviously, video games, Nintendo and video games writ large are not the only thing that's being affected by this, but yeah, I mean, it is definitely going to impact everything, right? And that also comes back into the larger macroeconomic thing, where,
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe it's not selling as many units because there aren't as many systems out there to
Yep.
sell it on, but also
Yeah.
because people don't have as much disposable income, and because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yada yada yada. I mean, there's a million factors coming into play here, and so I suspect that we won't really get a sense of how it's doing, at least until some point into 2026 at this rate.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. The more data, the better we'll know how
Yeah,
well the Switch 2 did really well. Did do.
yeah, yeah.
But um, in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile, on Calamity Jane, I think we're in a pretty good spot for tonight. But
Cool.
um, we got Calamity kind of entering the frame. I have one more pose to do, a couple more poses to do, but yeah,
Cool.
kind of
It's looking
fleshed out some
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is all the basic rough animation. I'll probably,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably do some massaging for the animation a little bit, but yeah, it's all the basic stuff's there.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're
Very
in pretty good
cool.
shape for tonight.
Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there then. Everybody wants you to head on over to calamityjane.rocks. That'll take you to our Patreon site. Consider subscribing and helping us make this cartoon a reality. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube, which presumably you already have since you're watching the stream. And we also post on Instagram. It's just another place for you to keep caught up with all the stuff that's going on with the Calamity Jane. Until we meet again. Oh, sorry, that I lost the thread there. We'll be back next week. And until we meet again, stay safe out there, everybody. Have a good night. Good night.